Welcome in to Nevada Prep's Facebook Live on your Friday nights. I'm Elaine Wilson. He's Ben Gotz, and we're here to bring you all of the highlights from around the Valley. A good handful of games this week.
Absolutely. We're getting toward the end of the non-league portion of the schedule. Those league games are coming up, but still some big matchups as teams are getting ready for the rest of the season.
I was actually at a Northwest League game tonight, Cimarron Memorial at Shadow Ridge. Cimarron was the first on the board in the first quarter, but the whole first half was just awful, guys. A lot of yellow flags. Things got so bad, they did the wave. Yikes. Let's go to the third quarter where Shadow Ridge began to dominate. Devasier Hobbs kicks things off with a 25-yard run. He's happy, and so are the cheerleaders. They all storm the field when their team scores a touchdown. They all get hyped. So that was their first one of the night, and they just kept going from there. Cimarron gets the ball back, and Josiah Nichols gets the pick, an easy pick on this one. Shadow Ridge forced 3 turnovers in the third quarter, including this one, picked off by Christian Owens. He just dives for it, gets it. Late in the third quarter, Shadow Ridge all but puts this one away. Finally, when Xavier Gomez is running it in for the touchdown, he just makes it look easy, dodging defenders. They take this one 29-11, but they actually mentioned to us that a lot of their motivation was an article written on NevadaPreps.com, seeing that we were profiling the Cimarron Memorial running backs. So glad to provide some motivation.
Yeah, whatever we can do. We're happy to help here at Nevada Preps.
They actually had the article printed out and highlighted quotes that they were repeating on the sidelines. So it obviously worked out for them, taking it 29-11.
Well, let's talk about another big game next. Desert Pines, who is the number 4 team on our Nevada Preps rankings, traveled to Sierra Vista today for a big matchup. Our own Sam Gordon has more.
Sam Gordon here, Las Vegas Review-Journal, out here at Sierra Vista High School, where the Mountain Lions hosted visiting Desert Pines. Sierra Vista goes right down the field on the first drive, but from that point forward, all Desert Pines, who get 3 rushing touchdowns from Cameron Wiley, including one from 6 yards out in the second quarter. Desert Pines recovers a fumble. Quarterback Tyler Williamson connects late with Ty Moore, 37 yards down the left sideline for another touchdown. They build a 26-7 halftime lead, roll in the second half for a victory. Desert Pines 3-0. Sierra Vista falls to 1-3.
All right, so all the highlights from that game. And Ben, you were actually at a game at Canyon Springs, a school that has gone through quite a bit this week.
Yeah, it's obviously been a tough week at Canyon Springs. Dalvin Brown, who was a student there, was shot and then eventually killed on campus on Tuesday. So obviously, really sad atmosphere there. There was a little extra police presence at this game, and they had a 30-second moment of silence to honor his memory before the game. So really classy touch and tribute by Canyon Springs before this one. Now let's actually get to the highlights and see how this game played out on the field. That's a jump pass from quarterback Coy Riggin for Foothill. The Falcons had a good offensive showing in this game, but here is not a good special teams play for them. This is going to be an impressive punt return for one Martin Blake. Watch him cut all the way across the field horizontally. It is going to be a 65-yard touchdown for the Pioneers. This put them up 14-10 in the second quarter. And he also had a really nice kick return later in the game, put him on the 20. Canyon Springs did not score from that, however. Here we got Canyon Springs back on offense, but not for long, because we are going to have a pick right there by Jordan Blakely waiting in the end zone to pick that one off. Then quick, you can see a field goal there. That is a 44-yarder from kicker Ollie Chori. I mean, 44 yards for a high school kicker is really, really impressive. Foothill did score on its first drive of the second half, though, and its defense held on from there. They won 17-14, a really impressive win for the Falcons, but I thought both teams showed out well in this game.
Absolutely, and now it's never too early in the season for a rivalry, and we got one kicked off tonight with El Dorado at Chaparral, the cleat game rivalry. It was a close one. El Dorado and Chaparral were all tied up after halftime. A really close game going back and forth. But Chaparral scored twice in the third quarter on the back of Meshach Hawkins, who actually scored all 3 touchdowns for Chaparral. El Dorado did what they could to come back in the fourth quarter, trying to make it a close one and get the win, but eventually it was not enough. Chaparral ended up taking this cleat game 21-13, an impressive showing by the Cowboys, and Meshach Hawkins, like we said, amazing that he scored all 3 touchdowns for his team.
Yeah, that's crazy, and obviously it's always fun to have rivalry games like that. And then we're going to talk about next a game that's had a lot of significance over the years, Arborview and Centennial. This is always a fun one. Here we have Arborview getting set, and they're going to hand off to Kyle Bubba Graham, their workhorse. Nice run to get to the outside there by Bubba Graham. Oh, and he keeps going, fights through some tackles too. You got to love the power that this guy brings to the game. Next, we have quarterback Colton Tenney going back to pass for the Bulldogs, takes the snap, looks downfield, but he is picked off. That is Niles Scafati-Boyce with the pick for the Aggies. Next up, we got Centennial quarterback Tenney again looking deep, and look at the circus catch. Bobbles it a couple different times. That is Amari Miller with the 58-yard reception. And of course, we're gonna give it to Bubba Graham again to finish this one out. And he is in for the score. Arborview took this one 28-13.
A lot of power coming from Arborview. You gotta love their run game and what Bubba Graham is doing for their offense. Well, let's go quickly to Bishop Gorman. They weren't playing in town tonight, but we gotta talk about their matchup against De La Salle. The Gales defense had quite a bit of stops in that first half. They held it close. It was 7-7 going into halftime, but eventually they did fall to De La Salle 27-21, and they're going into league play 1-3. You saw them last week, right, Ben? What did you think about Bishop Gorman and how they're going to do during league play?
Oh, I think they're still going to do fine in league play. I don't think Gorman has too much to worry about there. But just this year in these competitive kind of matchups against nationally ranked teams, they just, weren't there. They had a very good defense, and I think that defense showed out pretty much throughout the non-league portion of the schedule, with the exception of probably that Mater Dei game. But I don't think the offense was quite there at the beginning of the season to take the pressure off.
Right. Well, they'll be facing some easier opponents in Nevada, so maybe they can get that defense going and get things all running on all cylinders, per se, for the state championship.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap this up by giving you some of our top plays of the night. We're going to start with number 3, and this is from the game I was at again. We're going to show you this impressive punt return. I mean, he bobbles it a little bit at the beginning. I thought he dropped it. Yeah, no,
looked like he dropped it.
Then he just takes off. I mean, awesome job by Blake here. As I said, he returned a kickoff in the second half to the 20-yard line. His team did not score, but still, I mean, you gotta like the impact this guy is making on special teams if you're Canyon Springs. It's always nice to have a weapon in the third phase of the game.
Your heart skips a beat when he does that lateral, but he still keeps going. This one, a bomb. Ty Moore catches this 37-yard pass from quarterback Tyler Williamson. This was, of course, in the Desert Pines game, and they ended up taking that one as well. Very impressive, that arm strength. I dig it.
All right, and here's our number 1 play. We've seen it already, but we're going deep, and Amari Miller, and he's got it. Took him a little bit, but I mean, this is just really impressive concentration for a wide receiver to stick with this play and make that catch.
Absolutely. Some really impressive plays and some really impressive games this week on Nevada Preps Facebook Live.
Absolutely. So thank you, as always, for sticking with us throughout our Facebook Live. For Elaine Wilson, I'm Ben Gotz. We'll kick it to our scoreboard.
I don't even argue it anymore, honestly. Oh, you were almost.
Almost.
Almost trapped.